CSL Carlsbad. My name is Reverend Lori Mag, and I am a staff minister at CSL Carlsbad. And it is my honor today to be of service to you. I just want to let you know that I love you, we love you, we're thinking about you, we are praying for you, and we're excited when we can come together as one in person. But we are not going to abandon our Facebook Live, people. We will continue to stream on Sunday mornings, so stay tuned. And if you are here this morning, let us know you're here. Shoot me a heart or a smiley face. Write something in the box to say, hey, I'm here, I'm loving what I'm hearing. Whatever you want, just raise your hand and show yourself in a greater way. So before we begin, let's do what we love most, and that is to pray. So I invite you to close your eyes and to go within. As I recognize that one power and that one presence and that one essence, that creative genius of the universe that's always expressing itself through itself and as itself as our life, creating itself in many different forms and ways and beauty and life and love. And I know that I am one with the power and the presence of God. I am that essence of wholeness and goodness. I am unique and individualized, and as I know this is my perfect truth, I know this is the perfect truth for each and every person here on this call, that each person is a unique expression of the divine, expressing themselves in their own way, in their own universe, and I am grateful for this. So I know that each person here opens their heart, their mind, and their soul to hear whatever message needs to be heard in their life in order to reveal more of the presence of God as they walk through this life perfectly and divinely. And I'm grateful for this time together as I just let go and let God, knowing that it is all good. And together we say, and so it is. So like I say, just give me some love, give me some hearts, some smiley face, write a little note that you're here. We want to know that we're interacting with you and that you can hear us. So today is the last day of June, right? We're already in July. Can you believe that? Oh my goodness. Yes, we are already in July. And this month we basically focused on mindfulness, which is an amazing, beautiful topic. And I will be focusing on mindful solutions. You know, mindfulness comes from the Buddhist tradition. And I just love the Buddhist. Oh, I'm receiving some hearts. Thank you. I love the Buddhist tradition because this is really important for our teaching, to be in the present moment of right here and right now, because we know that the power of creating, consciously creating, is in the present moment. The Buddha, his name was Siddhartha Gautama, and he actually was born in Nepal, which is very close to India. And when he was born, 500 years before the Christ, can you believe that? When he was born, he was a child of great wisdom and strength, and he was handsome and he was strong. He had so much to offer the world, and all the great sages and the seers and the astrologers came to meet the king because he was born in a royal family. He was actually the child of a king and a queen. And they told the king that this young man in his great wisdom, he's going to have two paths to choose from. Either he will become a great royal ruler, or he will become a great spiritual leader that will change the world. Now his father wanted nothing to do with his son becoming a spiritual leader. His father wanted his son to become a great warrior and a great royal leader. So he made sure that his son was not subjected to the pain and the suffering in the outside world. Matter of fact, he made everyone in his kingdom who was old or who were sick to live in one side of the kingdom that his son will never, ever be subjected to. And he brought all the good into the palace, and he lived a life of sports and learning how to be a great warrior, and he was given many, many beautiful women. And matter of fact, he won his wife in an archery contest, Yoshandra, which was really a beautiful story. However, at the age of 29, he had the opportunity to go outside the palace doors. And when he went outside the palace doors, that's 29 years old, that's pretty old. He was actually confronted with old age, sickness, and death, and he had never seen it, and he had no idea that it even existed. It was impermanence and suffering, and this overtook him with this open-hearted, compassionate being that he was, so much that he decided that he had to move onto the path of enlightenment. Matter of fact, he ran into a man that was meditating underneath a Bodhi tree, and we saw him, their minds linked together. And he realized that everything that he was looking for was not going to be outside of himself. It was going to be within himself. So he had decided to leave the royal palace and not tell anyone. That means he left his wife, he left his son, he left all the royalty and all the pleasures behind him in order to find enlightenment. For 6 years, he traveled around India, and he became a teacher seeker. He was looking for someone to teach him the great form of meditation, and he found a lot of teachers, but he didn't find the awakening through him. They didn't find the nature of the mind through these teachers, but they did teach him how to meditate. So he decided that he had to take this journey on by himself. He found a cave in India that he meditated in for many, many years, and he became very thin, rail thin, and finally he went to Bodhgaya, and there was a Bodhi tree there, and he sat under that Bodhi tree for 6 days and 6 nights, did not eat, did not drink, did not do anything. And he dealt with Maya, which is the ego. The ego mind never wants to wake you up. It wants you to stay in a lower realm. He dealt with the Maya, and all of a sudden, after the 6th day, a week before his 35th birthday, he had this awakening. All of a sudden, he became a state of radiant, intuitive bliss. Yes, radiant, intuitive bliss. He wasn't in the past, he wasn't in the future, he wasn't near or far, he was right here, right now, and he had all the wisdom of the universe. It's almost like every cell of his being was the whole universe. And so the next 6 years, he went off and he walked India, and he taught the young, the old, the rich, the poor, the courtesans, the kings, and he became a great teacher. He also taught people, like, don't listen to me. You need to find this out for yourself. You need this to be a personal discovery, because this was not a teaching of like my way or the highway. It wasn't dogmatic. It was a teaching that you discover this on your own. And this is how he brought living in the present moment, and has lived through all those years from 500 BC. I think it is so beautiful. And matter of fact, I'm just so grateful that last year I went to India with the yogis, and I had the opportunity to sit under the Bodhi tree with the other Buddhists and with the tourists. And I went to the place where he had his first teachings, his first 6 disciples, and we went into the cave where he meditated for many years, and we were in Bhutan, and we went to the home of a Rinpoche. It was such an amazing awakening experience that the story of the Buddha I feel very, very close to. Now, if you want to really see a great TV series, you go onto Netflix and look up The Buddha, and it gives a whole series of this life of the Buddha and how he awakened. The costumes are beautiful, and the sets are gorgeous. They do speak it in Hindi, but when you're into the show, you don't even know that you're reading the subtitles. It's a beautiful experience. So right here and right now, as we are living in the present moment and not in the past and not in the future, we have the killer of not being in the present moment is really distractions. And we know in our society today, we have so many distractions. We have so many pop-ups, and we have so many ways of communicating with people in the world. We have text messages, and we have Facebook, and we have Messenger, and we have Google Duo. I mean, there's so many ways. Matter of fact, when you go to a restaurant and you see people, they're usually on their phone and not with each other. And how do we stop these distractions coming into our lives? I mean, I know for myself that I basically trained myself, so I'm not blaming it on anyone, to be a multitasker. I was 16 and I worked in a restaurant, and so I trained my mind to, okay, I need to take their order, I need to seat these people, I need to give them their change, these people need milk, they want extra tomatoes. I mean, so many things I had to think of at one time that I took this teaching of multitasking into my life. And so I found it challenging to be in the present moment, and I continually have to open my mind to, am I present? Am I present right here and right now? Or am I being derailed by something that is distracting me? Because when we're in the present moment, this is where we get our power. We can create from right here and right now. We don't have to create from what happened yesterday or what we think should happen in the future. So a mindful solution to bring us back into the present moment is called the ABC method. A, let's say you're on Zoom, because I'm on Zoom all the time. You receive a phone call and your phone is vibrating. B, you take a breath. You don't react, you just take a breath. I can take this call or not. And C, you can choose. You can choose to take the call or you can choose not to. It doesn't matter what you choose, but the choice was a conscious choice. This is an ABC method of dealing with distractions in your life. Because there's so many times all day long we are getting distractions from our phone and all the pop-ups, that we can be totally present in the moment, even with other people. And that's really the most important part of being in the moment right here and right now, is being present with our family and our friends and our colleagues and people at work. And I think at one time in our last life, not too far ago, our old normal, that a lot of businesses were really focused more on the bottom line, and they were focused on personality. They didn't care how you feel about anything. They just wanted to make sure their numbers went up every single month. So now they find out that more of these businesses are more successful when you have people who are empathetic, listeners, or they're compassionate with other people, or they have really self-awareness in their dealings with other people. And this is a beautiful thing, even with each other. So what is a mindful solution of being in the present moment with your family, your friend, your colleague? And one of them would be to actually look them in the eye when you're talking to them. Look them straight in the eye. Don't look at anything else. Don't answer your phone. Just let them know that they are the only person in your world and you are hearing them in that moment. Another practice is to listen attentively. Yeah, listen to what they say and maybe reflect back to them what they're saying so they know they are being heard. And allow the distractions when the phone rings to just let that go, to let them know that you are there. And speak mindfully and speak kindly to people. If you don't agree with their point of view, just allow them to have their point of view. And then when they're done, without disrupting, point your point of view out with compassion, with love. So it is about staying in a loving presence and to respect each other at all times when we're communicating with each other in our families and in the world. And even listening to children. Children need to be heard. They're human beings too. They need to be heard and they need to be seen. So yesterday, I was on a Zoom call, because this is what I do, and there was a couple there that told their story. It was an amazing story. And it was really an example of what a very healthy relationship is all about. And when they first met, like 6 months afterwards, when they realized they were getting into this relationship, they decided to develop primary purpose within their relationship. And they came up with some bullet points. They came up with more than that, but they shared with us 4 of their bullet points of being in a relationship and how they would honor each other. One was respect. The second one was protect each other, to support each other, and to nurture each other at all times. And so they were really conscious of how they were going to be in this relationship, and they had no idea that because they had these core values in the relationship, that one day it was going to save their lives. She lived in Phoenix and he lived in Chicago. He came out to Phoenix to visit her, and they decided to walk up to Superstitious Mountain. where he had a lot of great camera equipment, and he wanted to take a picture of the sun setting and the moon rising. They did everything right. They told their friends that they were going to Superstitious Mountain. They went to the trailhead and they signed in at the book there. They parked their car at the trailhead, and they even called the ranger and talked to the ranger about the mountain. And the ranger recommended another way to get down from the mountain that wouldn't be so difficult. So they took this information with them on their hike, and the hike up there was like an hour and a half. It was strenuous, but they got up there. They took all the pictures they needed, and they started their descent down, and they went the way that the ranger had told them to go. Well, 3 hours later, they found themselves lost in the middle of the night in the desert, not knowing what to do. And because they formed these core values of how they would respond to each other, they were able to survive. Now, she wasn't really that healthy. In the back of her mind, she was thinking she was going to hold him back. She was also thinking that he was going to have to leave her and then come back later for her, and she might not survive this trip. And he let her know that he was going to protect her and they were going to go through this together. He let her know that the most important thing that they agreed upon is that they stay in the present moment, right here and right now. That's all they had, was the present moment, and to stay in faith. And so they decided collectively, not one person decided and the other person not agreeing with it, they collectively decided every decision together to go back up the mountain. But by the time they got back up the mountain, they had ran out of water. They had very little water left, and they were dehydrated. And she remembered a time in her life years ago where she met a girl that was in a life and death situation. And the girl was thinking to herself, my God, I have to live because I have to go home and feed my dogs. You have dogs. You can relate to that. And this gave her a will to live. So she thought to herself, now, I could die here, but I have to have a will to survive. So she made her grandchildren the will to survive. Every step was Michael, David, Adam, Michael, David, Adam, Michael, David, Adam. This gave her that will to survive the situation when they were dehydrated. She was weak. She was supposed to have taken her medication by now, and she didn't. So once they got to the top of the mountain, they decided, okay, collective agreement, they're going to walk down. They're going to walk down slow. She turned on her phone, just in case, you never know. And all of a sudden, when they were walking down, her phone lit up. And you know how your phone lights up after a while? It hasn't been on. All your texts and emails and the dings and the dongs keep flying and all the lights. She sat down right there. She sat down, did not move, and they called 911. And the 911 didn't really believe them because so many people call and they make false accusations. So they had to go over to the trailhead and see their car, go over to the trailhead and see that they signed in on the book. And once they convinced them, you know, thank God they were able to continue to connect with them. It was 2 hours and it was getting very cold there, and they supported each other and they snuggled together. And they were told they had to climb back up the mountain in order for the helicopter to come. The helicopter came, and they had these like ropes that came down with swings, and they got into the swings, and they had water in there for them, and they flew them down to the trailhead. So because of this situation, because of being in the ever-present moment of right here and right now, and not thinking about death, not thinking about what could happen in the future, just having that faith, she ended up moving to Chicago knowing that if they could get through that, they can get through anything. But what a great example of a beautiful, healthy relationship. And for them, also, staying in the ever-present moment of now and always having a beginner mind, like no one was the expert because they weren't the expert. They'd never been lost in their life. And having a beginner's mind is a Buddhist teaching. It's called SoulUtions in the Zen tradition. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert mind, there are very few possibilities. So they stayed there, they stayed open to having a beginner's mind, just like the Jesus teaching of having a childlike mind. It is important that we have a beginner's mind in everything that we do in life, anything that we are recreating in life. And what is the mindful solution to having a beginner's mind? Well, the mindful solution is that you have a blank mind. You erase everything in your mind and you come from a place of no experience, even if you have a lot of experience. A beginner's mind is when you ask yourself, how can I approach this differently? This project or this situation, how can I approach it differently? And allow your mind to brainstorm when you have new options and get it out of your comfort zone. And maybe there's other possibilities that you can have in your life. There's infinite possibilities and infinite potentiality as long as we get out of the box of thinking it has to be my way or the highway or I'm the expert, and open ourselves up to a new way of being. I mean, and really paying attention to our instincts and our intuitive mind that's always guiding us and directing us. And I know their intuitive mind was directing them to keep moving. They both felt that inner sense that just keep moving. The inner sense, okay, now we have to turn around. We can't go any farther. So, a mindful solution. When you approach a new project or you have a task at hand, take a deep breath before you begin and empty your mind out and have a Shoshin attitude. Yeah, even in the Zen Buddhist tradition, they believe in emptying their mind when they meditate on a regular basis. And I know every week I get out here and I talk about meditation, but it is such an important spiritual practice. Matter of fact, the Buddha asked, what have you gained from meditation? And he replied, nothing. However, the Buddha said, let me tell you what I lost. Anger, anxiety, depression, insecurity, fear, old age, and death. So if there's anything of that you have within you, I would recommend, if you'd like to take the practice of meditation, being in the ever-present moment of now. In the Zen Buddhist tradition, they just sit in the presence and they focus on their breath. And then if a thought comes up, you just accept it. That's all you do is accept it and let it go. And focus on your breath. And just sit in the presence and be in the ever-present moment of now. And as that becomes a practice in your life, you move out into the world and that becomes a practice in your world. So in closing, give me some love, some hearts, some stars, some smiles, say you're here. I see some messages there, I'll be checking them out, thank you. And in closing, just being right here, right now, in this present, knowing that your power is in the present moment. And just feel that power in the present moment right here and right now, because you don't have to recreate anything from the past. The past does not predict the precedent, and your power is right now. So this is a question I want you to ask yourself. What is one positive action that you can take at this moment now to seize the day? What is one positive action that you can take right here, right now to seize the day? We are here in San Diego, whether it's June gloom or May gray, I love it all. I love the weather here. There's so many wonderful things that you can do. And I'm just going to invite you to close your eyes with me and ask yourself that question. What is one positive action you can take at this moment, right now, to seize the day? And just be quiet for a second and listen to your intuition. Listen to that divine voice within, just recognizing. The intuitive mind is the one mind communicating with you, guiding and directing you along your path in this beautiful world that we live in. For all we have is this present moment right here and right now. I invite you to take this moment here to love and appreciate yourself, to love and appreciate the people all around you. That when you have distractions in your life, to use the ABC method of awareness. Take a breath and make a choice. And allow yourself to interact with those you love with compassion, with awareness, with grace. For I'm grateful for this time together, knowing that it is good, it is very good. Knowing that each person opens their heart, their mind, their soul to reveal the presence of God that is within them in this moment now. And I release my word with a heart filled with gratitude and joy, and so it is. Mwah! I love you all. Thank you for being here today. Have a great day. Hopefully we will see you soon in person. And we're not going to abandon you, our Facebook Live audience. Bye.